Hey, everybody. It is 10 o'clock, and I'm just checking to make sure the mic is on. If you are jumping in and you are already here, please do me a favor and let me know that you can hear me, see me, all the rest of the things. So far, I see that one person is here. Hey, what is going on? As far as why I am wearing this ridiculous onesie, well, I work at home. So what I have to say is why not? In fact, I would have to say is why aren't you wearing one? Because I could spend a whole bunch of money warming up my house, or I could just wear one of these. Hey, what's up? Tortoise Cash Flow. What is going on? Hey, if you can hear me, fine. Please just give me some sort of notification in the chat. Hey, Frankie, I wanted to tell you that, for one, I said thank you for your email, and I did send a note to my contact over at Ezoic. One of the things, though, while I'm waiting to hear back from her, I wanted to tell you is just the first thing I would do if I were you, because there isn't an option, and I'll go back, by the way. Frankie had emailed me because he had previously applied to Ezoic and didn't have enough traffic at the time. He didn't get in through the Just Start program, and he has done a great job and has apparently built up his site to a point now where he could apply because he has enough traffic. He has more than 10,000 sessions a month, and he's like, there's no reapply button in the Ezoic dashboard. It basically shows your site and it says that you are not your site doesn't apply, it doesn't qualify, but it doesn't give you an option to reapply. So what I would do, Frankie, until we hear back from my contact over at Ezoic, is I would send a message to support, to their support email, and let them know that you would like them to take a look at your site again and see if they will reevaluate it, because you're right, there is no place to reapply. And if you don't get a response back in 24 hours, I would say email me again, and we'll just try to streamline this process. Because if you are having this trouble, then odds are someone else out there is having this trouble, and there needs to be some sort of setup in their platform. And actually, I'm going to make a note to talk to them or ask them about like the reapply button, because that seems like there should be an option to do that. So all of 6 folks who have jumped on, what's up? I see Pete and I see Adrian. What's going on? Pete is I wouldn't say making fun, but giving me a hard time about my cat. And I say, what? Like, come and get me, bro. Like, oh, who else do we have in the chat? So Tortoise Cash Flow is actually personal finance minimalist. Why did you change your name? Seriously, like what was wrong with personal finance minimalist? I mean, I get Tortoise Cash Flow. I guess that means like we're going slow, like slowly on our way to financial amazing freedom. Yeah, no, I'm curious. But yeah, I wanted to mention, though, for Tortoise Cash Flow, it's going to be so strange calling you that. The reason that I shouted you out was, one, I like knowing that other channels are out there making progress videos and case study videos. I think those are really important to our community, but it also is like there's a new wave. So last year, or even earlier this year, a bunch of people got started and have worked their way up and are now over 1,000 subscribers or are close. And it seems like there's a new wave of folks. And so I think that that's something that those of us who are already on the other side of it can do, is we can help you guys get going, get there. Like, why not to sort of circle the wagons and make this community more valuable to us? And so I just like that there's a new crop of folks out there who are just getting started, and it's great to see y'all doing your thing. It's really great. Frankie says, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Bless up. Hey, let me know. So email them and then just check back in with me via the email and just let me know if you get a hold of somebody. And if not, then we can go to work to see if we can make something happen for you. Hey, Jada, what's going on? There is nothing wrong with being warm. And I don't know if it works for clickbait in the thumbnail. I'm currently trying out all kinds of things to see what people do. It's because usually I use like this very standard thumbnail and it just comes on and then people see it and they're like, oh, it's a live stream, versus they more likely to click on if they see me doing something ridiculous. Like, I don't know. Does it? But today, the cat is my effort, is my intent to try that out. Folks who are jumping on, it is Wednesday, so that means it is accountability time. It is progress report time. It is win, lose, or draw time. Let us hear it. What did you get done this week? What did you plan to get done in the last week and did not get done, and why not? And what are we going to do this next week? For real, I will admit, just first out of the gate right now, I will spill. I have been really struggling to get to the computer as much as I would like because, and I blame distance learning. I'm spending a lot of time using my creative energy, doing science experiments and trying to create up art because my kids are at home when they would usually be at school. So that is my challenge I am working towards. I have a really solid plan to crank out a lot of stuff in the next few days. I've been definitely getting here for my live streams, but you may have noticed I haven't really pushed out a lot of other YouTube content in the last 2 weeks or so because it's just been really hard to get here. Obviously, my kids come first, and so I'm putting my energy into there, but it just means that there's less energy available here. Not giving up, though. That's just life. I'm going to find a way, find some time, and all of the rest. So those of you out there, there are 12 of you here and potentially a couple hundred of you who are watching this later on the replay. If I don't see it in the chat, I want to see it in the description, or in the comments. That's where you would put it. The description is what I work on. In the comments, what did you get done? What do you not get done, and why? What are we going to do in the next week? Let's make use of this group. And to the chat, I see fancy dress live stream. Hello, are you not at home, Pete, wearing like something fancy? Come on, get with it. Nice work uniform, Adrian. I can wear what I want. That is the value and the joy of being my own boss. Jada says, hello. I already said hello. Tortoise Cash Flow is personal finance minimalist. And he said it was too many syllables and hard to be ranked out on YouTube when people search my name. Okay. All right. What I wonder though, is what's wrong with using your own name? I mean, I use my name. I mean, my name isn't, I'm not a celebrity in any way. But is there anything wrong with using your own name at this point? And I note that we got our very first thumbs up. That's where it is up here on my screen. If you lovely gentlemen and ladies could go down and hit the like button, hopefully it will blast it out to more folks here on YouTube, because YouTube will realize that there are lots of people here and we're hanging out and that more people should be notified. Next Gen says, hey, Emilia. And I say, hey, what is up? And I know I mentioned this in my community post, but Next Gen ideas, just like Tortoise Cashflow, are some folks that have recently started publishing some, I don't want to call them case study updates, but like progress, like journal updates that are really popular. And if you are out there and you really enjoy those types of videos, you find them inspirational to see people getting started and making that progress. I mean, now is a really good time to start, I think, on YouTube with these folks because they're so early in the journey. And it's really great to have other people who are in the same spot to go building up. Josh says, busy day swinging in for the high. I say, hey, what is up? Josh, thanks for dropping in. I mean, you of anybody, I'm happy to see you because I know how hard you work in any given day. Pete says, cat, it looks like a rabbit. I do have a rabbit, but this is most definitely a cat. Pete says, should we take the cat or you more seriously? Well, I will leave that to you, Pete. I don't know that anybody necessarily in this group takes me that seriously. I see aloe vera. That is Pablo. What is going on? Nanad, it says, hey, late for the party. I say, you are not late for anything. So far, all I've done is reached out and said, hey, everybody, what is your weekly update? What have you got done? What didn't you do? This is accountability time. Like, spill it, everybody. I already sort of shared mine. I'm having a hard time. I'm being challenged by distance learning, but what are you folks working on? Pablo says, I will start a business in the following days. It's time to scale. What kind of business? Is this an FBA? Is this like an offline brick and mortar? Spill. Like, tell me, Pablo, what is going on? Pete's weekly update is posted some new content. The No way to manually submit the post because Search Console has apparently removed the manual indexing option, which is a bummer. They say that they're going to add it back, but I don't know if they will. I know a lot of people are using it, including moi. I haven't checked in over there lately, but that is a bummer if they remove that. He also says, first Amazon sale. This is me like patting Pete on the back because I can't pat Pete on the back over there across the pond, but congratulations. That is a huge deal. So Pete started a site, started earning ad revenue, and got his first Amazon sale. That is a big deal. And I can tell how excited everybody is to give the thumbs because up there I have 2. So I had 1 and now I have 2. I suppose that's how we're going about today. Let's see. Adrian says, I haven't done nada. You are one of the hardest working guys that I know. So nada, like that, to me, that's not accurate. He says, I have kids, work, other investments requiring my energy. That sounds like a lot. And if you mean, oh, I didn't work on my business in any way, well, I still see YouTube videos, Adrian. I still see you doing interviews and all the rest. I think you have a live stream scheduled here in a couple of hours. That is hardly nothing. So give yourself some credit, please. Jana says she did a live stream on Saturday, and I say that is so great. So you got started and you are continuing to do it. And did anyone come to it? Did anyone come to it? And how did it go? Was it easier than the last time? And yeah, just tell us more about it. Pete says, I don't need fancy dress. I'm enough as I am. Way to be confident, Pete. Sue says, hey, everyone. I say, Sue, what is going on? Thanks for dropping in. About using his name, Tortoise Cashflow says, I don't want people from real life and stuff to search me and find my channel. Yeah, I hear that. That was one of the reasons why I had a really hard time sharing my name in the beginning. And the hard part, though, is like once you go down that road, then you're sort of stuck with it. Once you start to grow something, it's not as easy to change your branding. And I was ultimately glad when I started using my name, but it was stressful at first because I thought, what if people find out? What if they know that I go on YouTube and do silly things like wear a cat suit and drink coffee and stutter, which is pretty much all I do in these streams. Mark says, my update up to 117 articles. Man, I need some sound effects like an eagle or something. Not that I would be copying anybody. Up to 117 articles, which is great progress. $800 per month and 30,000 traffic per month. How's your progress going? Took 13 months. So Mark, I'm assuming that this is mostly an affiliate site, but I would love more. I would love to know more about that. It would be extraordinary for me to see an ad-based site with 30,000 views of traffic per month, making $800 per month. And so I just wondered if of the breakdown of that $800 a month, if it's more affiliate versus ads or one or the other. Because if it's ad revenue, I want to like high five you, man. That's awesome. To build that in 13 months, that would be extraordinary. And frankly, it's still a great achievement. If you look at that on a 30x multiple, if you can run that for at least 6 months, you've got an asset that is potentially worth $24,000. That is really amazing and showcases what you can do on the internet in a short amount of time if you are willing to put in the work. Pete says, did the lady who committed she was going to start a site like 2 to 3 weeks ago return? Her name, I think, was Alexandra, I think, and I have not seen her again, which bums me out because I'm wondering if she's here lurking and doesn't want to own up to it and admit that she didn't get started. And the hard part about that is that there are a lot of people, I think, on the stream who probably lurk and who dream of getting started or want to get started, but don't for so many reasons, motivation or lack of knowledge, or maybe they just can't find the time. And I just want people to start making those first steps because it really did change my life. Adrian says he's waving because he's driving, so totally not breaking the law. Josh says, hey, the public site I started this month had a sale too. Also great progress, great progress. That I don't know what it is about that first sale or that first dollar or that first thing. It's exciting. It makes a huge difference as far as in energy and enthusiasm. Even if it's not a lot of money, it still feels like it's finally going in the right direction. So yeah, I just any other wins of any kind, feel free to drop them in the chat. Next Gen says second niche site launched, been pushing more content, targeting 100 articles by end of November. Are you outsourcing or writing them yourself, or both? And if you are outsourcing, would you be willing to share the method, like who you are using for your content? Because it's really great to know who out there is using it. One of the things I wanted to ask is for folks who are out there. Last week we had a small chat about the Ezoics beta video player hoster make money offer thing. And the one person last week who had tried it said that they weren't really that excited about the earnings per so many views, versus YouTube. If you had a monetized YouTube channel versus putting your content over and hosting it with Ezoic and then putting it directly on the website. And so I just wondered if anybody else had any experiences with it yet, and if anybody had any updates as far as where we were from last week towards this week. Let's see. Pablo says, I've started to earn more than $1,000. I assume that's per month, so I can create a blogging business, investing all the income in new blogs and see how far I can go. That's exciting, and I'm so pleased to be on the journey with you. That's exciting. There's Alexander Rivera, and I'm not sure that we've met before, Alexander. And if you've been on a stream before and you said hi to me before, I'm really sorry because your name isn't familiar to me, and that's my fault. But if you are new to this group, please do me the favor of sharing, like, what are you working on? What brings you to the stream? What are you interested in talking about, learning about? Let us know. Jada says, couple of people came. It wasn't easier. It literally took me months. And I will even say now it's not necessarily what I would call easy, but it's getting better, right? I figured that when I go all the way around for doing this for a year, that maybe I will start to feel more confident. I mean, it's like a big deal for me to feel confident enough to be silly enough to put on this ridiculous onesie and go on a live stream where everybody can see. It's ridiculous. Mark says, yes, private affiliate deals. So when we're talking about his new site, that in 13 months is making $800 a month now, it's with affiliate stuff. So folks who are debating, affiliate versus ads and what you can do as far as what will earn you the most money in a hurry. I mean, it seems like the consensus is affiliate if you can get enough traffic and to get the right kind of affiliate offers together. Because a lot of people come to me and they say, oh, should I do info articles versus affiliate type product articles? And I say, well, if your goals are, I must make as much money as possible in a short amount of time, affiliate stuff is probably the way to go, even though it can be very competitive. I don't know, it's out there. Optimistically cynical says, Oh my goodness. Did anybody else see that message? Nanad says, Tyler Bishop from Ezoic told us that the how-to articles earn significantly more in PMV than review-based articles. That's based on Ezoic data, just letting you know. I appreciate the comment and the thought. I think it's going to depend upon the niche, honestly, because the info articles versus review articles, I mean, ultimately, every article is going to depend upon some advertiser out there wanting to earn money, right? So if you're going to make informational articles, it still doesn't guarantee that there's going to be money there for your EPMV. It's still going to depend upon somebody who wants to sell something somewhere else, because otherwise, what's the point of running an ad that would be targeted to those keywords and the rest? So potentially the answer is yes, but I don't know necessarily that ads are targeted to what would be considered review versus info. I don't know that it's that sophisticated, honestly, that ads can tell that people, when they're setting up, will know that there's a difference. Sometimes I think it has more to do with, not just sometimes. I do think it has to do with the niche, and I think it has to do with the potential customer. and who is trying to sell something to those people. So if you're looking at a niche to do informational articles on there and there is no product to be sold, or that product is very, very inexpensive, then I don't think it matters how many how-to articles. You're right. I don't think it's going to necessarily improve the earnings per 1,000 visitors. Pete says, that's not nice. We don't talk like this. I deleted it. We'll see if that guy sticks around. I don't know why people come onto these streams. And then I think that it's entertaining to them to see people, either view the messages and then be upset about it. But I think what I'm going to do in the near future is I'm going to give someone who's consistently here admin privileges or moderator privileges so that those types of comments can just be deleted. And those people, if they don't want to play nice, they can just go away. Next Gen says outsourcing, primarily from college interns, few from Fiverr and few from iWriter. So it's a mix of multiple sources. All right. Well, folks, there are many ways to outsource, and it's great to hear about someone else's plan and projects to make that happen. Adrian says, I haven't done anything on the website building part of the biz. Hey, man, you have been super busy, so it doesn't surprise me, honestly, that that's not necessarily the priority. The nice thing about websites is that they can sit and continue to do the work while you are away from them. But it also means, though, that they're easy to neglect because they just do what they're doing while you're away from them, and it's easy to let other things be the priority. And this person right here is very guilty of that, like super guilty. Pete says, and nod, probably because the dwell time and moving down the page is more likely than clicking off quickly to Amazon. Yep, I think that's a great argument and great counter to my point. Next Gen says, YouTube is going to eat up a lot of search spots for how-to content. That is goes back to the debate about how, what kind of content should people be creating right now? Should it be more written content, or should we be fleeing over to YouTube, and instead of writing those blogs, should we be creating video content because video is the future? Are blogs going to be extinct? There's a lot of people making a lot of money from them now, but it's there's a lot to be said about moving to video. Pablo says, I have a question. I have my main traffic from the UK and a great affiliate niche. Ezoic Premium gives me $13 EPMV. Is that the same for you guys? Well, Pablo, the hard part about that is it's going to be niche dependent. It really is. It's a good affiliate niche, which is great. UK traffic is tier 1, which is great, but is it the same? And it's going to be really hard without knowing more about the niche. And I'm not going to encourage you to share the niche if you don't want to, because we would hate to see somebody go and try and steal it. Clarky says, nice suit. And I say, thanks. I'm feeling super professional today. Ethan says, how many articles, posts do you write before moving to the next site? I think that's going to depend on the niche. It's going to depend upon the monetary goals. I think a lot of people will start a new site and then put up a certain amount of content and then let that content sit for a while to get it out of the perceived, sandbox, or to let it go forward. Some people will create 30 articles, like one article a day for 30 days and then let it go. That's the income school style. Some people will try to blast out a couple hundred posts and then let it sit, or maybe never stop. Maybe they will never continue. They will never stop. They will just keep putting post after post after post up until the site is doing what they want it to do. Or it may depend upon the topic, the niche. Maybe there's only so many articles to be written about on a particular topic based upon the site. So it's a great question. I wish that there was one answer, but not everybody is going to be the same. But I will kick that to the comments then. How many articles would you post, or do you post before you decide to start a new project? Let's see. Pablo says, it's funny because I use color instead of color. Google sends me traffic from UK and Australia. I thought that Bert was something real. Pete says, the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. Well, what about it? Huh? What about it? Nanad says Tyler gives us a difference about two skateboarding websites. Both are very similar. One about reviews is 8 EPMV, and second is more how to content is $22 EPMV. And I think that Pete's comment is a good one. It's maybe less about the particular words and more about the behavior of the person who is on the site. I think the argument that people will spend more time on the site and will give you opportunity to earn from the ads is probably a big portion of why that is. Maybe in that time you'll be seeing ads refreshing, right? If you have the ads set up on your site that refresh regularly, maybe you are getting paid for impressions rather than clicks. I mean, that is probably a good argument for why that is. Next Gen says, anyone know good cost per lead affiliate programs in hairstyle, hair treatment segment in the US? Looking for a few, please. I will kick that to the comments. Does anyone know good cost per lead affiliate programs in the hairstyle or hair treatment niche? Because I don't. And it'd be great if folks know maybe where to send Next Gen to go and look. I mean, the only thing that I can think of as far as CPA programs are Max Bounty, but I don't know that that is necessarily the best place to go make relationships. Potentially, I would suggest looking at companies and then maybe seeing if you can make friends with the affiliate program managers and try to establish something if you have something you think could work. So my email from the folks over at Ezoic, it says, for Frankie, if he's still here, she says, if they were not approved for Ezoic because their site was too small, they can sign up again through the standard sign up portal, just like they did the first time. So that's what the Ezoic people say. I think that you could probably get there through support, but they say, go ahead and start over. And you say, oh, well, will that put my domain in there 2 times, or how will that work? And I think we should just test it out, see what happens, and then come back and report, or we'll go back and tell her that worked or that didn't work. One of the things I wanted to ask about and just mention is that it looks like Ezoic is building up data or they're working on a case study potentially to compare how Ezoic goes up against some of the big networks like AdThrive and all the rest. And they are doing like a small, I don't want to call it a program, but they're looking for folks who want to do a head-to-head comparison. So with their old ad network and new. I don't know all the details about it necessarily, but they want to make it helpful or useful to the person or the company that brings their site over to do that case study. And I think they recognize that there is a potential for maybe adverse effects. And so they have some ideas about how to try and even that out and make it worthwhile for people to bring their sites over to do a head-to-head test. I mean, the upside of doing it in this way versus just applying through the portal on your own is that they probably will work with you really very closely to get your site, I guess, optimized as well as possible. Because if this is a case study that they're looking on doing, they want to make sure that the sites that get brought over perform as well as possible. I just wanted to throw that out there. It's not something that you can just go to. I guess you could go to Ezoic and contact them, but if you want me to connect you up, I don't have any sites on Mediavine right now. Otherwise, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. But if folks are interested in doing that, then let me know. Let's see. I also have noticed that there's someone who's in the Ezoic community who has been spamming a lot of my videos with their affiliate link. And I just wanted to throw this out there that I have reported that affiliate to Ezoic because I find it really annoying. And it's just, I mean, everybody's out here trying to do it right, like not spamming links. Like, let me just tell you, don't spam links. That's just not going to work. That doesn't work anymore. And it will cause you to lose your access to affiliate programs. Like one link, like I can just delete them and I'm cool with it. But if you're going to go and start putting your affiliate links on all of my videos in the comments, like multiple times, either using a bot or all the rest, like, I'm a nice person, but eventually it hurts the rest of us to see that stuff. So I'm just telling you, if that was you, I reported you. And I'm sorry that I did that now because I try not to do that. But Please don't spam links. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. Nanad says, just letting you know what Tyler told us. Hey, I think it's a great discussion topic. Like, it's a great thought, because we don't always necessarily think about how our sites earn us money and some of the things that we need to do, or why it is that a how-to article versus a review could earn more ad revenue. So I think it's a great contribution to this conversation. Just to inspire people to think about why it is that longer content might earn more, right? I mean, John Dykstra talked about longer content. I'm putting up my air quotes, not just putting in more words, but he would purposefully put in images that were stretched this way, so that people would have to scroll down, and hopefully they would be enjoying that infographic or enjoying that image, but it would leave people on the page longer to improve their metrics, and also give those ads, maybe in the sidebar, a chance to refresh so that he could earn more money. That could also be a good reason for folks to consider using maybe a larger font. Again, because there's just more for people to scroll and to give those ads a chance to run, especially video ads, a chance to run or refresh. Let's see. Sue says, yeah, don't be annoying. Yeah, well, that's a good rule for life, right? It's a good rule for life, is don't be annoying. Jason says, do you have any knowledge experience with monetizing online tools rather than blog posts? And do you have any tips? I create JavaScript tools and want to host them to make money. I personally don't. But what I will say, though, is that I think that selling the shovels to everybody who is out there trying to take advantage of the gold rush is an excellent idea. And I think that the longer a lot of folks in this community are in this, I hate when people call it a game, because it's not a game. Like, this is my life. But I think that there are a lot of folks who are going to be moving in that direction, myself included. And that's one of the reasons why I find myself talking a lot more to software developers and app developers. But as far as what it is you're looking for, Jason, are you talking about how to maybe run ads in those particular tools or apps? Are you talking about how to sell them and how to market them? What sorts of information are you looking for? One, we could talk about it here, or two, we can go find people who have that experience and bring them here. Pete says, regarding the number of articles before moving to a next site, it could depend upon a limitation. If scaling up to larger search volume keywords, and that could take many months, and a second site delays that. Yeah, I mean, every time you take on a new site, it prevents you from working on the first site. Even if you're outsourcing the articles, there's always some maintenance. Jana says to Jason, try Facebook groups. Ethan says, that's correct, but I am doing two together, talking about multiple sites. Nanad says, got to go. And I say, see you later. Thanks for dropping in. That's awesome. Alexander says, hi, thanks for the warm welcome. Yeah, welcome. Come anytime. We're always talking on Wednesdays about where we are and what we are working on. Sees, I check in once in a while to the streams. I started a travel blog in October and messed up so many things. Yeah, well, I think that you can join the club there, because I think almost all of us who are here did not do it right the first time, and are probably still not doing it right. Like, that is basically, I think, the experience that all of us have. He's in Project 24 and just started a second site. That's great. That is awesome. And, a lot of people love to hate on Project 24, and I don't. I never do here, especially in live streams, but out there in the world either, because the one thing that they have done, maybe better than just about any other team out there on YouTube, is they've gotten a lot of people started, and a lot of people who wouldn't have otherwise started. They do a really great job of helping people get over that initial hurdle to get out there and actually hit publish on those first 1, 2, 10, 20, 30 articles. And so I have a lot of respect for them, even though there are a lot of people who love to talk trash about them. Maybe they don't agree with their information or their strategies. The hardest part is getting started. So I applaud you, not only for starting that first travel blog in 2018, but for starting again and continuing to learn. I think it's just great. Jason said that's a great analogy. I've already forgotten. Was that someone else? I've already forgotten. Clarky says, yeah, golden shovels. I said, hey, do it. Jana says, Project 24 shows what's possible, true or not. Pete says, just when hitting higher volume terms when your site is old enough to rank, then switching to start site 2 diverts time and money when potential has gotten interesting. Does allow diversification, though. Totally agree. Totally agree. Mithan is asking Alexander about his travel blog. He wants to know how the first site is doing. And now so do I. How is it going? You say, I messed up so many things, so much so that you decided to start a new site. And I'm wondering, okay, well, what is happening with that old site? And maybe what mistakes, if you're okay sharing them, like what mistakes did you make and what would you do differently if you could go back and do it? I did want to point out, I saw Dee Levon there. She said hot mess when I was talking about that Ezoic affiliate. And I just wanted to say that I saw you. Thanks for dropping on. So there are a handful of folks here on the stream, and I can see many of you here. It would be awesome to hear more about what folks are working on. I get tired of talking about myself, even though I'm the only one here who could do the talking. It'd be really cool to hear more about what y'all are working on, because I think there's a lot of people who come to these streams who get inspired hearing about the fact that there are those of you out there who are working so hard and are having wins and are making progress, and it feeds them for the week. Literally, like what you share in the live chat and what we talk about here feeds people for 7 days until they can get around to next Wednesday. And the reason I say this is that there's only, between 18 and 25 people who show up here regularly, but over 200 people come back and watch this video in the next week. And while that doesn't seem like a lot, if there were 200 people in the room with me right now, that would seem like an extraordinary number of people. And I think that's another thing I want to talk about just briefly about YouTube. People get really bummed out about putting out a video and seeing that only 20 people watch it, right? Because it's not 1.3 million views in 30 days or 30 minutes or 30 seconds. And I say, wow, like 30 people came to you and consumed the things that you had to say. And it's the perspective, because they're not in front of you. It's really easy just to not see the value in that. But somebody explained to me, like, okay, 200 people, if 200 people were on an airplane, right, and that airplane crashed, you'd be like, oh my God, the value in human life that just, is gone from the earth. It just means so much, 200 people. But when it's 200 people who watch this live stream, they're like, doesn't mean anything. It's only 200. And the same is true if people go to your blog and only 200 people read your article, or only 200 people click on a link and say, wow, that's 200 people. That is so much. And you don't really think about it until you think of them in a room with you. 200 people would fill up my whole property. It could fill up an auditorium. That is an amazing impact that you could have out there in the world, just 200 people. So if you're catching this on the replay, I'm drinking coffee to you, 200 lurkers who are catching this on the replay. And please go down into the comments and let me know that you were here, because I do appreciate you. Pete says, Project 24 used to recommend starting a second site. Now I believe that they are changing that and focusing on one site and building it out. I do think that it is important to keep working on one site until it achieves I'm putting up my air quotes, like the goal, whether that's what means successful to you, if it's making $1,000 a month or $500 a month or getting a certain amount of page views. That sticking to that before starting the next site is important. It can be really easy to get that like gold rush mentality, like, oh, I can start this one site and then get it earning, and then I will miss out if I don't do that with 2, 3, 4, 5 more sites. But that's not going to happen working on 5 sites unless you are investing a lot of money. And most likely what you'll end up with is lots of sites that aren't doing very well when you could have one site that is doing extremely well. Jason says, my main questions with the JavaScript tools are any tips on how to get things monetized? They're the obvious hurdle of setting up the site, but would you let it run and rank and see if it's worth monetizing first? Well, The hard part about that is that when I don't have experience with JavaScript, so what we're talking about is you creating the tools, or you're talking about making a site about these tools. Because if you have a site where you have the tool and you're looking at trying to get people to download the tool to potentially make money off the download, I just want to know more about what we're talking about. Jana says, who said that you could make a pretty good living with only 1,000 fans? I don't know for sure, honestly, who said that, but there's a lot of talk about I'm putting up my air quotes again. I feel like I'm using air quotes a lot today. The Dream 100, you could say, well, you only need maybe 100 true fans rather than 1,000. If you had 100 people who came out and bought every single thing that you purchased and watched every single video that you created from beginning to end and supported you 100%, I don't know that it's 1,000. It's probably only 100. If you could find like the Dream 100, like obsessively excited people, you probably don't need 1,000. It's probably much, much less than that. Pete says, Jason, I would suggest putting up a site, then promote via Facebook groups relevant to whom would find the tool useful. Try JV Leaders in Digital Marketing, where they have followers who use JavaScript. Jana says, 100 sounds better. 100 seems a lot more achievable, right, than 1,000. Chris says, hey, what's going on? I will just shout Chris out. He's on the hunt to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you are not subscribed to Chris's channel, his videos, I think, are way better than mine. And I think he's pushing out a lot of really cool content right now. And so let's help Chris get to 1,000. Pete says 200 plus rabbit cat fans. So I need 100 like fans of me, or I could just get a couple hundred people who like cats. Alexander said, some mistakes, including trying to perfect the logo, theme pages. Yeah, there's a lot of time to be wasted there. Everything except writing content. I had guest posts put on Amazon and Zoic all before getting traffic. Yeah, I think it's really easy to get excited about monetization, but definitely like setting back and worrying less about monetization and more about getting traffic is the way to go. Absolutely the way to go. And I did both. I focused on monetizing first on one site, and I've focused on building traffic on another. And I definitely go with the model of focusing on building traffic, because once you have traffic, monetization, it could be the work of maybe a minute of adding ads or adding affiliate links to a post. Once you have people coming in, then you have something of value that you can work with. Jason says, yeah, you can use an example of online converters. All those are massively saturated. I don't want to give too much away, but multiple tools on one site to help other developers. Well, in that case, I mean, finding people to get people there, that for me probably is an ad site overall, is trying to get a keyword focused search site so that performs really well in search, or that could also be plugged via social media, is the initial thing. I say, okay, we want to, like, I'm thinking like PDF converters and, online tools that people could just use really easily. I mean, people have to be able to find you. So I'm imagining website plus optimized for SEO, maybe because that's what I'm primarily focused on, but that seems the primary way that I find those types of tools or those types of things that I need. Another way, though, to do it would be looking at doing collabs and partnerships with people. So you could do the Facebook groups, or you could try to work really closely with someone who does have an audience while you work on building your own. Mostly you just need to find a way to get eyeballs there. And if you're monetizing with ads, then you just need to get people to the website. If you're looking to get downloads, again, it's just getting people there. Pete says, with multiple sites early on, you don't learn from mistakes. Yeah, then the changes must be replicated across multiple sites. Yes, I concur from experience with that. Jana says she likes Chris's niche safari channel. Next Gen says happy to see more videos. Alexander says love your channel, Chris. Pete says welcome, Chris. So basically, this has turned into a we love Chris show. Everybody, we love Chris. Chris is here. Chris is our celebrity. What is up, Chris? Oh, and there is another one. There is another. He's not as much of a celebrity as Chris, but he's working really hard, and that's Jesse Fouch. What is up? Jesse is over on Facebook in his Facebook group, Niche Informer. He posts over there about his progress, and I also recommend that people participate in his community. What is going on with you, Jesse? I saw on your Facebook group that you had added a couple sites to the Just Start program through Ezoic, and just wondering what else is going on in your business. John Flanagan said, so the advice is just to pump out content on one site before moving to other sites. In general, I think that what is coming through from this particular chat group, and you say, well, how much content? And I think of less about a certain number of posts and more about getting the site to a place where it's performing the way that I want to. And that could be 100 posts, that could be 1,000 posts. But that's what I think of is say, okay, my goal is to get so much traffic and then doing whatever it takes that is necessary to get it there. You'd say, well, I must pump out as many posts as possible. And that is how I felt last year. And it's more about getting posts up that I think will perform well. And it's not just hitting the publish button just to have any sort of words out there. Yes, you need a lot of content, but I think we're finding over time that it has to be good content, not just anything that has the keywords in it, but it has to actually be good. Pete says to Jesse, this is good posts in the Facebook group, useful. I totally concur. Alexander is talking to Next Gen. He says he loves the videos, which, again, folks, if you're just jumping on, Next Gen is joining us in creating like progress videos and case, I don't want to say case study, but just updates about progress. And he's somebody, I think I've posted about him in my community tab. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, it's out there. Chris is the best. Pete says he got his first Amazon sale, so he's catching up with Chris. Invest Mantra says hi, and I say, hey, what is up? And then Alexander says, finally, like some love for me. Oh, I figure you guys don't have to tell me you love me. The fact that you show up here on Wednesday, well, that says it all. Pete says, turned into a Chris Fest who's visiting just for the adoration. Pete says, what's weird though, a product at $20, but showed up as under $7. So you're talking about the revenue that was collected in your Amazon dashboard. So it's in the report, unclear why other than major discount applied, not on the product page though. Any thoughts? Yeah, I'll throw that out to the chat. I personally think that there must have been some kind of discount that reduced the value of the transaction in some way. Maybe the item was on sale, even though you say, well, I clicked on the link and it doesn't show up to me as being on sale. It shows to me that this particular product is for sale for $20. We don't always necessarily know what is going on the other end and how that customer ended up getting that deal. I don't know necessarily for sure why that is, but I wonder if anybody else who is in the comments could throw in what they think. Jesse, giving his update, says, keeping my eye on the prize and trying to hit that goal like Chris did recently. I'm not far behind him. And so when we're talking about the goal, Jesse, we're talking about the quitting your job and becoming your own boss. Because if you do, you could definitely go on Adrian's channel. He would love to talk to you. I'm going to assume we're not talking about monetary goals. This is something we talked about earlier in the year too, about how much money you would really need to make to be able to quit and go full time. And I'm wondering, how long do you think it will take you to get there, Jesse, now compared to where you were in the spring? Because in the spring, it seemed like it's probably still a long way off. And I'm wondering now if it might be looking closer. Pete says, mate, my new affiliate site is 4 months old and 0 traffic. So you're ahead of me. It'll work out though. I'll keep the faith. Yep. Pete is trying to go head to head with Chris and Chris's recent case study because Chris is doing an ad site and an affiliate site at the same time and seeing which one performs better than the other. About Pete's question, Chris says, not sure why. I've noticed that too. So again, we're not necessarily sure why this $20 product is showing up as revenue of just under $7. To me, it's looks like about 2/3 off. So some kind of 66% discount. but I'm not sure what is up there. Maybe we'll look forward to additional sales on that particular product. Could also mean that maybe you should switch out that product. Maybe maybe it's a third party seller, like an FBA seller who discounted the product to unload the inventory in a hurry, maybe, and maybe you don't have control over that, or maybe it was to a specific locale, so only people in the US, for example, were offered that deal because that is where the fulfillment center is. I'm sure we could speculate for days about why this is, but I just think that there has to be something at the seller level and less about like misreporting in the Amazon affiliate dashboard. Emilia from NextGen, how are you prioritizing among all the online income channels you were working on? Blogging, YouTube, Skillshare, podcast. How do you prioritize and reason? For me, I prioritize on. This is funny, actually. So one of the reasons that I work on so many, and put up my air quotes again, side hustles is because I'm naturally a person who gets bored really easily. And so for me, to keep me in this game, in this business, I have to have lots of options as far as projects go, because I'm not someone, I can't sit down and write blog posts for the next 24 months. I burn out because I go really hard at things and then I get tired of them. And so I kind of cycle through, honestly, just I go on it hard until I'm tired of it. And I go on to the next one and go on it hard till I'm tired of it. And I go on to the next one until I'm tired of it. In the summer of this year and in the fall, I focused on building up some of the streams of things that were things that I started in 2018 and 2019. And maybe they're earning a couple $100 a month or $20 a month or something, and seeing if I can build those up to $1,000 a month. So that's one of the reasons why I went back to Skillshare really hard this year, is because I wanted to take this income stream that was making a couple $100 a month and see if I could build it to $1,000 a month. I'm really hesitant, honestly, to be all in on websites, on blogs, and on ads or affiliate programs. I think we saw already this year how much it can hurt to be all in on Amazon, for example, or all in on AdSense, or all in on websites that rely on traffic from SEO. So the motivation to work on many projects combined with my natural, I guess, characteristics. I mean, that's why I do those things. And then I rotate through them to try to grow them all. And what I don't do very well, though, and I don't think works, is trying to work on them all at once. So what I have to do is put things down. And I do the podcast, but I do the minimum amount of work that I need to do. Like I could do a lot more with the podcast. I could do a lot more editing and a lot more sound and a lot more production. But mostly what I try to do is just get the content out there and then put it on the burner in the future to work on. And the same is true with a lot of the other stuff I'm working on. But, you know, it does involve putting some things down and then being okay with them, sort of just kicking the can along on them while I put more of my time and attention into things that I have goals for. I prioritize by the thing that interests me the most. There, I went back to the question. I literally just talked for about 4 minutes about all that stuff to circle around and to get to the answer, which is I prioritize based upon what I want to work on. And that is the freedom of working for yourself and working at home. That's what I do. Let's see. Talking between Chris and Pete, it was outside of Prime Day, no shown discount to 2/3 off, which seemed too high. Wondering if because of use of gift card and other reason. Well, it seems like if somebody used a gift card, that there still should have been a monetary transaction that would involve a payment and a transaction of funds, and the affiliate should have still gotten credit for that. So discount still seems the likely reason. We just don't know why. Jesse says, I'm talking about the goal. Quitting the day job. Yep, I know. When are we going to get there? Let's see. Jesse says, I'm hoping to hit it before 2021. So that, my friend, is November and December. So that is 2 months and like a week and a half. So 10 weeks, 11 weeks. If you do it in 2021, you should come on to the stream and we should all celebrate with you. We will copy Adrian. We will copy Hasta la vista, boss. And you should just run the circuit of all of the YouTubers who do live streams or who create videos, and we'll celebrate all with you because you will have achieved the goal that so many folks who participate in these streams are working towards. Pete says, Chris is going to crush me. He's going to crush all of us. Plus, Chris is building links and using Moolah, which so he isn't playing fair. Oh, come on. That is totally playing fair. Renat says, hey, Emilia. And I say, hey, what's going on? How are you? I feel like we haven't gotten to catch up in a while. How are things? What are you working on? Alexander says, great point. When investing, you should diversify. Just not blindly. And just know that when you start a new project, that it will take away your time and money and attention from other things. So you shouldn't build too far because it will slow everything down. Let's see. Jana says, what about Udemy? Why only post your courses on Skillshare? Well, honestly, the reason I started on Skillshare was because I'm really terrible at creating info content. I have a real confidence problem about feeling like my knowledge and information is that valuable. And also, I didn't have a lot of equipment in the beginning. So when Skillshare first started, when I started on it, coming up on 2 years ago, it was a newer platform, and their standards for content and for the quality of the product was definitely lower than Udemy. So it was a good place for me at that time to start. I haven't been that excited about Udemy because I haven't perceived that it's necessarily a better investment of my time. Yes, you can charge more for your courses on Udemy, but ultimately you can assume that Udemy is going to discount them to $9.99 or something close to it. And very few people will be excited about paying $249 on a course on Udemy. So yeah, they'll sell it for $9.99 and you'll get half of that. And so it's not necessarily that much better necessarily to go on Udemy versus Skillshare. Now, the one thing you should know though is that if you post it on Skillshare, you should be able to also upload the same course or the same content over on Udemy, and that has been a goal of mine to be able to cross post that. I just haven't necessarily had the confidence yet that I guess it makes it real to start going on Udemy. I will. Well, no, I'll talk about that next week. I started creating content for a new platform that's similar to Skillshare, and I got my first product posted there, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet because I haven't actually been through it yet. I actually want to see it before I go and talk about it, but I'm excited about it. It was fun. I'm just not ready to share it yet. Renat says, I missed the live sessions the last 2 weeks because there is not any announcement for the live chat. You know, Renat, the reason that it's not coming up like that is because I haven't been pre-scheduling it. I was using StreamYard and I was liking it, but I think StreamYard was the reason why one of my live streams a couple weeks ago got a legal strike or legal objection. And the reason I honestly think is because I was using the option that allows you to click on the chat that shows the person's picture along with their name and their information in there. And I think somebody got spooked when they saw their actual face in the video. And I was going and looking at the privacy rules, and it says that if you identify someone in a video, you know, by name and face and information that allows people out in the world to identify them, that they can get the video taken down. And it seemed to me like a really crap rule because if people are in the live chat using their name and their face and their actual information about themselves, that it's like they're asserting themselves. Because I look through the whole, like my memory, and I don't call out email addresses. I don't do anything. And I think somebody put some information in the chat that I must have clicked on and put it in the stream, and people saw it. And I think that's what got the video taken down because they reviewed it and said that was the case. So with StreamYard, I was scheduling things in advance, and I've just gone back to using the YouTube Classic. But what that is a good reminder for is that I should, maybe the day before, is create the thumbnail and set this up so that it should blast out the notification a little bit sooner. The last couple of weeks, I've just been coming on at 10 o'clock and just hitting stream, like go. And that's probably not the best way to catch people. I think a lot of people are coming in the middle because they're not getting the notifications from YouTube. Let's see. What else is going on over there in the chat? I think I'm missing plenty. Jesse says, let's see. Chris, you mentioned that one of your sites tanked right after you quit your job, or did it recover? Mine did the same thing on the same day and recovered yesterday. Um, yeah, Chris, what happened? Did it come back? Tortoise Cashflow says maybe they used the Honeycomb extension. Pete says, yeah, I don't get them all. Sometimes the YouTube app on Droid notifies several videos, so I miss streams. Yeah, I miss a lot of streams because I don't get the notification. Chris says, nope, my site didn't recover. Let's see. Chris says, I'm still making a few K from the site that tanked, but I lost my best few pages. Jesse says, I lost about 40% of my traffic over a week. Then it just came back and all my rankings are turned back on the rise now. I think that there's a lot going on over at the Google right now. I have one or two sites that are just bouncing around like this every single day. Just something new and different. And what I've just stopped doing is looking. I don't look because it stresses me out. Just don't look. Pete says, for those who don't know, the United States government, DOJ, is suing Google for anti-competitive abuses regarding search. I heard about that, and I'm actually wondering whether or not folks in this group would be interested in following the lawsuit, like the actual pleadings, because that's something that I have experience with and I could talk about. They want to actually know what is going on in the lawsuit. Somebody also sent the information to me about Ty Lopez's lawsuit, and I was thinking about creating content around that. But if people are like not interested in it at all, then I won't. But if it seems like something you would watch, like videos you would watch, please let me know either in the chat or in the comments if you got this on the replay. Renat says, his son got born since the last live chat, and mother and baby are doing really well. Well, I think that is amazing. And folks in the chat, I think we should all congratulate Renat for having a baby boy. That is amazing and a great reminder that life, like there is life out there aside from, trying to grow this stuff. And I am so excited for you. I don't know if you have any other children, if it's your first one. It's a life changer. Fix just had his first child too. And it's a lot of us, it's our why, like why it is that we do this. And it definitely makes me more motivated to do this work, because it means that I can sit at home and wear a cat suit and complain about doing science experiments and art projects and things, because the freedom that this lifestyle gives me is just amazing. So I'm so thrilled for you. And I totally understand and don't feel any pressure to get here for live streams. You have a lot of stuff going on at home. Let's see. At Tortoise Cashflow, selling stock photos is interesting. I'd like to hear more about that. Secrets. Chris says, my girlfriend takes photos of mountains and leaves and looks just like Pixabay. Well, I mean, you could do things like, what is it, Alamy? I've definitely looked at those, and I've sold a couple of my personal photos that I have taken, but it was never anything that I went in on 100%. I think it's just like anything, where any sort of side hustle, if you just take a couple pictures and then wonder why you don't have millions of dollars, it's not going to go anywhere. It just takes a lot of time and effort. Let's see. Jana says, I use StreamYard too. I will be careful. And talking about the privacy thing, I think it's just a matter of somebody didn't like it and complained. A lot of people use it and probably never get strikes. And I think I just hit somebody who was really upset about seeing their face on the stream. Maybe maybe it's a work related thing where they don't want their work to know necessarily that this is what they're doing with their free time. There could be so many reasons for it that don't necessarily mean that they didn't like the stream or they didn't like the group or this channel or me personally. But yeah, just keep an eye on that. Let's see. Pete says, Chris, aren't you worried that girlfriend leaves all the time? Does another suitor have more attractive beanie though? I'm going to leave you guys to talk about that in the chat. D. Levon says, my Google Analytics are going back up. Yeah, some of the folks that had trouble in September are mentioning that things are recovering. I've just seen things bounce all over the place, and I can't watch it. Because if you're here for the long game, then watching what's going on every single day, especially when things are volatile, is like it's the recipe for a heart attack. Renat says he also has a 3-year-old daughter. I also have a 3-year-old daughter, and that is an amazing time. It just goes so fast. Hey, Ruben, what is going on? Thanks for jumping on. How are things with you? How are your projects? What is going on? World of Aviation says, what is your experience with Amazon affiliate acceptance procedure after you made 3 sales? Well, as I understand it, if you've made the sales, that there isn't necessarily anything else that you have to do. Um, my Amazon affiliate account, I made the necessary sales, and I haven't heard necessarily anything from them that says one way or another, or maybe I just missed the email. Is anybody else in the chat want to chime in on what happens or what happened to them when they hit the qualified and all the rest? Because I thought it was 6 months rather than 3 months, but if anybody wants to throw in on their experience, please let me know. Tortoise Cashflow said, my elder brother had his first kid a few months ago. Yeah, it's a big deal. Jennifer says, so interested in Google and industry news. The Google stuff is going to be interesting and significant to work and how the world is run. Jennifer, first of all, I wanted to say welcome and thank you for dropping in the chat. I saw the comment you left on one of my Skillshare videos earlier in the week, and I wanted to say thank you for the comment. I was wondering if you were looking at creating Skillshare content or what else brings you to this community so that we know what to talk about. Adam, what is going on? Have not spoken in quite some time. I know you had a busy summer, but it's good to see you and hear ya. His question is, where do you think the industry will be in 10 years' time? I know I'm asking you an impossible question. Well, I mean, that is a great question for everybody, right? And something that we may or may not want to think about. And I think I asked Matt Diggity this question, like where we're going to be in 5 years. He's like, I'm not going to go there. He says, I'm going to worry about what is going on right now and then just be ready to move and change with it as it goes. He says we could worry about 5 years from now until the cows come home, but you're planning out so far for something that we cannot control. I mean, to some degree. As far as 10 years from now, I mean, it's a great exercise to think about what people will be doing differently. And maybe that will help us solve the question of where things will be 10 years from now and what people are doing less of and what people will be doing more of. I think that, and potentially you say, what is the influence of the pandemic on this? You could say, well, some of the things we may see are these large conglomerate businesses that have dominated the marketplace for so long. They may lose a lot of traction. Their foothold, basically, their global overarching control over many of these industries, especially around physical products, are going to be smaller. They're going to have to break apart maybe the centralized control, or maybe some of the things that are bought and sold, maybe those ways will go away. You could also look at communities overall. It says rather than people relying upon Amazon or products that come from far away, that maybe it will herald a return to community-based purchasing and community-based travel and just this, I don't want to say lessen reliance, but reduced interaction with people on a global scale. You say, oh, well, we assume the coronavirus will be, gone in a year or two. But in the meantime, there are some really large businesses that will probably fail in the next year if things don't dramatically improve. And then they're not just going to pop up. There's going to be some dramatic changes that probably will last a long time. So for our industry as a whole, it could mean that the rise of these folks who are working from home, small businesses that have gone online, like maybe that will be, especially for physical products, that we'll see a lot more competition from small businesses on maybe a more district, like territorial scale. I mean, will it change blogging? Will blogging be different? Will websites and ad revenue be different? Well, you say, what if those big box companies were gone? What if all of the Macy's and JCPenney and All these gigantic advertisers are gone. Well, it could dramatically impact the ability to earn significant ad revenue, right? If there's no company out there that can afford or wants to afford or will afford advertising, that could completely change the landscape of people who want to earn through ad revenue. People say, "Oh, well, it won't make a difference for us because we'll just order our products from, these guys or these guys or these guys." But for bloggers who earn their money through ad revenue, like the loss of these big corporations with giant ad budgets, I mean, if that if we transition from a large corporate landscape to a small corporate one, then I mean that's something that I could see as being an issue. Um, I don't know. What do other people think? Pete says, "Do you feed the cat on your back?" Never. Will you have animal rights peeps after you and you'll be back hiding in closets? I already came out of the closet, apparently, and I don't need to worry about that again because once you're out, you're out. Pete says, "Good idea. Next video, the cat jumps out from the closet." Yeah, that just happened. Pete says, "It's 6 months for Amazon. Once you hit 3 sales, you will get an acceptance email within about a week after they review your site." I must have missed that email. I literally have no idea. And now it makes me want to go and check. Pete says, "I didn't realize my Facebook image would show in stream comments, but got used to it. Didn't expect it." Well, there you go. And it's something that you can't do with just YouTube Studio, but it is something you can do with StreamYard, which is cool. But at the same time, not everybody is cool with it. World of Aviation says, "I've got 60 articles, all original, 3 sales, pure organic traffic. Amazon rejected with reason that content was not original." Now, I guess this goes back to some of the discussion about review articles when we don't necessarily maybe have access to the product, or we're doing sort of a roundup of other thoughts about it. They must have thought that the content wasn't unique enough. Even, I mean, maybe like you think about it, you say, okay, I take home this same pencil and I go home and use it and write a review about it. If my experience with the pencil is the same as everybody else's, even though I'm writing about my own experience, I mean, I guess I could see how they could say, "Oh, well, this content isn't original," even though I didn't steal it. There's no copyright infringement issues. I didn't take it. It's my own. But I guess if it's the same review as 20 other sites that are writing about this amazing red pencil, then maybe that's part of it. And what we're seeing out there is a lot of folks who aren't bothering at all to buy the pencil. They're just using their research skills to go and see what all the other articles out there say about this pencil, and then they're just making their own version of it. Maybe that has to do with it. Vanus says, "Nothing happened for me. I hit the milestone, didn't hear anything from Amazon. So about getting approved for the affiliate program after getting enough sales. I didn't hear anything from them. Another site, I had a different affiliate account, got an email telling me I needed to make sales or I'd be kicked out. And it was an automated email." Okay, well, good to know. And that is other folks' experiences. Hey, Stephen, what is going on? We seem to be running late today, and there are a lot of people here. And I can't believe we're still going. And I put on this cat hood and jumped through the doorway just now. That did just happen. Pete says, "You had to see Chris's comment before mine to understand." Yeah, I'm having trouble keeping up. Jennifer says, "Love your videos. Just started without school first, developing other courses to sell on Skillshare." The only thing I would say, I just highlight to folks that are talking about Skillshare is just to check really carefully their requirements for uploading, because those change sometimes without notice. And I've gotten myself in trouble a couple of times by just not following along with those rules. And there's no excuse. I should know better, but I just didn't check before uploading content. And what it means is I've wasted a lot of my time, like spending 2 full days creating something and then posting it and having them just respond right away and like, sorry, that's not going to work. That violates our creator guidelines. I'm like, what? I just spent 2 days working on this. And Adam says, thanks for saying what Matt Diggity said. I will learn to keep that in mind. I mean, ultimately, we won't be able to control what happens in 10 years. And because this market is moving so quickly, I mean, I'm looking ahead to next year, but 10 years, I mean, that's trying to imagine what it would be like to stand on Saturn at this point. Pete says, okay, I did not realize there was a tail to the onesie too. The whole deal now. See, this is why this is not a rabbit suit. Have you ever seen a rabbit with a tail like that? I think not. Renat says, Amazon actions are very random and it depends a lot on who is reviewing you. And that is true for AdSense. That is true for Skillshare. That is true for, I think, even Ezoic. It's just a matter of, and remembering that there are humans over there. And that's why a lot of people just hit reapply, right? They just try to reapply over and over until they get a different human. And that doesn't always necessarily work when you're using the same URL because they're like, we've already banned you. But again, it's just remembering that there are humans there. World of Aviation, are you worldofaviation.com? People are here for the cat. Well, this is the first time, and I've got like 30 people on the stream, and for some reason, the cat seems to be working for people. Some people go with like low-cut shirts and like fancy backgrounds and makeup, and I'm wearing a cat onesie. This is my life. Vazu says, World of Aviation, you have a great YouTube channel. I haven't checked that out. I should. Jennifer says, your video about Skillshare was great, even though we had to learn from your headaches. Well, I am sure that I will continue to make mistakes and I will post about them as it happens because it happens all the time. Let's see. Chris, can you shed some light on Amazon affiliate review process? Yes, please, Chris. If you are there, still there, and feel comfortable dropping knowledge on us, I would love to hear what you have to say. D. Levon says, I heard red lipstick makes people stay on your channel longer. Well, dang it. I have like completely avoided makeup of any kind and also doing my hair. So I guess I can only go up, right? Like there's only room to go up. Oh, guys, it has been really fun today, and I can see how fun it has been because I have stayed on 20 extra minutes, but I'm sure everybody here needs to get to work, and so do I. As always, I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. We'll still be, Bazu says, maybe Chris could join the live chat someday. We could have your cat suit and Chris hat. Well, that is something for Chris and I to talk about. I've been after Chris actually for I don't want to say months, but I'm not going to call out Chris, or I'll call out Chris. Chris, I've asked you before, and Chris was like, oh, she said she was too jealous of Adrian. I was. I had tried to get Chris to come on the channel here several months ago, and Chris was not that interested. And then he went over to Adrian's channel, and I've been offended. I've been so offended. I can't help myself. And so yeah, Chris and I are on the outs. Oh man. D. Lamont says, I wonder how many people working from home are wearing the same catsuit. Well, maybe we will start a trend. Maybe more people will be wearing catsuit. Oh, let's see. Christopher Kent says, going for those UWU clicks. I want to be on the podcast, more classy. Well, we'll talk about it. Chris has beanies. I have catsuits. Boss has construction hats. Yeah. Well, see, before I was wearing the unicorn. I was wearing the unicorn horn. And I moved to, I guess it's an animal theme. Probably because I have children and this is the stuff we have laying around the house. Chris says, I'll come on, but only if we both wear onesies. Well, did everybody see that? That comment says, Chris will come on the channel on a video, but only if he agrees to wear a onesie. I will wear a onesie. I have the rabbit and I have the cat, and you have to wear one. Let's schedule it. You send me a message after this, and we will schedule a onesie live stream. Vazu says, "Is the podcast growing in downloads?" And it honestly depends on how you talk about downloads, because I look at downloads like podcast growth as every episode potentially having more downloads than the last. And what I see is that it is topic specific and also guest specific. And so if the guest is someone in this community who other people already know, those episodes seem to perform really well. But if it is someone who is new to the community, then those posts don't necessarily perform as well. Still getting new downloads every month. So overall, I would say yes. I think that the reach of the podcast is increasing and continues to increase, but at the same time, it hasn't like exploded, right? Like I haven't quit all my other stuff to become a podcast host. I think I like the growth. I like seeing that people are going there, uh, and we'll just. I told myself that I would go 100 episodes before I look back and was like, yes, that was a good idea, or no, that was a mistake or a waste of time. So I think I'm at 28 or 29. So I've got 70 some more episodes to put up before I sit down and say like, oh, that was a great idea, or that was a waste of time. D. Levon says, it's time to get me a suit. Honestly, I found this one for $7 at the local, not recycle store, but St. Vincent de Paul or Goodwill or whatever, just because I think people buy these and wear them a couple times and they're like, I don't really feel like wearing that to work, but I can. So looks up onesie keyword. Jesse says, that's a binding contract. Job says, will the cat come back, or can we maybe see a guinea pig? Well, it depends on what I've got. I've got the rabbit. I have the rabbit suit. So maybe that is what you will see next. Is it hard to SEO podcasts? It is. It is because one, I don't think a lot of people search for answers in a podcast. So you can do it's not necessarily hard to put in, tags and keywords into your description or in the title, but thinking of the search behavior of the user, most of them aren't looking for the answer in a podcast. A podcast could be anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. And if the answer that they're looking for is, how many people live in South Africa, they're not going to go to a podcast to look for that answer. They're going to look for a blog article or a snippet or Wikipedia or YouTube, where they can get that answer relatively quickly. And so people have to be interested in podcasts and in the topic to, for one, go to Google and search a question, and then to have them pick a podcast as the solution, especially when that answer might be in a blog article that could be consumed and reviewed in like 2 or 3 minutes. I think people tend to follow podcasts because maybe of the format or because of the creator. They don't necessarily go there to get answers to a pressing question. So the answer is yes, you can do SEO on a podcast, but people don't necessarily go to them for the answer, which is why putting out a podcast in the same vein that you might create a YouTube how-to video or a how-to blog post doesn't necessarily create the result that you're probably looking for when you're thinking about SEO. Pete says, my housemate would take me even less seriously if I start wearing a cat around the house. I think it would be awesome. And anybody can message me or email me a picture of them in their onesie, and I will post it to the community or show it here in the stream. Let's see. Will Peach. Hello, I say, what is going on? What are you working on? How's it going? Tortoise Cashflow says, I'd love to see that onesie interview. Oh my goodness, Chris. I basically think that you have committed to a onesie interview. If Chris comes on, Emilia has got to commit to finding a way to cripple his ads test site so I can slink past it unnoticed. Well, I don't have any sort of skills of any kind, so I'm not sure how that would play out. Pete says, is the cat suit your latest merch for followers trying to compete with Adrian's Asta t-shirts? I have thought about merch, but really what I think people should do is go and bug Fix to start selling the t-shirts that he has been doing in his live streams, like his blogging sucks shirts. And I would buy those. I probably should buy some of those and just wear them in the stream because I think they're great. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out Fix's streams because he's always wearing some sort of new shirt that he has created specifically for his live streams. Chris says, I'll be on WP Eagle's live stream next week. All right, it's out there. Chris is going on Alex's live stream next week, which is super cool. And we will try to get there or at least catch it on the replay. That's like making it, Chris. That is the big time. I think his is the largest stream, I think, well, you guys will have to correct me. I think it's the largest stream in this community. So that feels awesome. That's great. That's really, really cool. Johnny says, hey, what is up? Cat in the box. Hey, thanks for dropping in, Johnny. I don't feel like we've seen you here in the live stream for a while. And before we head out, let us know what you're working on. Any updates, anything else? It'd be cool to hear. Chris should wear a giraffe onesie. Well, there you go, Chris. You are on the hook to go find yourself a giraffe onesie. And I bet the head on those things is like really cool. Jesse says, get ready for Chris to hit 1,000 subs after that live stream. Well, he's working really hard and I think he is deserving of it. And then hopefully what we'll be able to do is circle around and support the folks who are in their first 100 subscribers trying to create their another income stream, monetizing information and knowledge that they have. Chris says, I'll look for one. There's a onesie store about 100 meters down the road from me. All right. Well, there you go. When you have the giraffe, we will schedule the stream. Jesse says, I have 2 subs and Emilia is 1. Well, Jesse, if you are going to actually create content on your YouTube channel about what you're doing in your progress, I think people would subscribe and I think they would be interested in knowing what you're doing and how you were doing, especially if you have built this up to the point where you can quit your job. I think a lot of people would want to know more about that and how you're doing that. And when you decide to go in on YouTube, I will support that. You can come here on the channel and we will try and launch you. It's like the Colbert bump, right? I don't really know what to call it here. We'll have to think of something, but supporting small channels is what we do. So, well, I tried to get off of here about 15 minutes ago and I'm still here, but I am going to head out now because I want to get some work done. And so should you. Thank you, everybody, for participating and for a great live stream this week. It warms my heart and it helps me stay motivated in the week to come. And I look forward to reporting some more progress by next Wednesday. All right, everyone. Have a great week. Be safe. Stay safe wherever you are. And we'll see you next week.